This narrative offers an insightful analysis of the detrimental impact of identity politics on modern society. Identity politics, a pervasive phenomenon of our time, is dissected to reveal its roots in collectivist ideologies and social constructs. By reducing individuals to mere representatives of their demographic groups, it threatens the very foundations of individual autonomy and personal responsibility. We will then delve into the conflict of group interests, demonstrating how a focus on collective identities can foment division and animosity, rather than the unity and cooperation necessary for human progress. It underscores the importance of acknowledging and addressing each person's unique circumstances while firmly rejecting the notion that success and failure are predetermined by group membership. Next, the harmful victimhood narrative is exposed, highlighting its tendency to foster a culture of dependence, resentment, and entitlement. The essential truth that each person is an end in themselves, with the capacity to overcome obstacles through reason, hard work, and integrity, is emphasized. The discussion then turns to the solution: a truly just society that safeguards individual rights, promotes merit-based achievement, and champions personal responsibility. This vision stands in stark contrast to the collectivist worldview, which seeks to redistribute resources according to group identity rather than personal effort and contribution. In conclusion, the narrative calls for a return to the values of reason, objectivity, and individualism. It is only by embracing these principles that we can hope to create a society where every person is judged by the content of their character and the merit of their work, rather than the arbitrary traits of their birth. Part 1. Definition and origin. Identity politics is deeply rooted in the ideologies of collectivism, postmodernism, and social constructivism, which posit that our identities are not shaped by our own choices, but rather by the groups we belong to and the social structures surrounding us. In a rational society, we value each person for their character, abilities, and accomplishments. But identity politics threatens this principle by promoting a view of human beings as mere cogs in a larger machine of group interests, rather than as unique individuals with the capacity to reason, choose, and create their own destinies. The first essential concept to understand is the nature of the individual. Each of us possesses a reasoning mind, which allows us to perceive the world, learn from it, and make decisions based on our own judgments. We are not born as blank slates, waiting for society to imprint its will upon us, but as self-made beings who forge our identities through our thoughts and actions. Unfortunately, identity politics often reduces people to the sum of their demographic traits, rather than recognizing their individuality. This can have detrimental effects as it encourages tribalism and resentment among groups, stifling the natural harmony of interests that arises from free and fair exchange. Instead of embracing the unity of mankind through reason, identity politics seeks to divide us along arbitrary lines, creating an us versus them mentality that only serves to breed conflict and strife. A just society, however, respects the inherent worth and autonomy of each person, fostering an environment where individuals are free to pursue their own happiness without undue interference from others. In this way, we can move beyond the limitations of group identity and work towards a world where the content of one's character truly matters above all else. Part 2. Nature of the individual. Each person, through their unique reasoning abilities, is the sovereign entity in their own life. They have the right to think for themselves, to pursue their own happiness, and to keep the fruits of their labor. This principle is foundational to human flourishing. In the realm of ideas, we should encourage open debate and intellectual rigor, recognizing that truth is an objective reality waiting to be discovered. This means challenging the claims of any group that demands special treatment or consensus based on identity alone. In the workplace and in our daily lives, we must judge each person by their merit, not by the color of their skin, their gender, or their religious beliefs. A doctor, for instance, should be chosen based on their medical skills, not their ethnic background. A writer should be celebrated for their ideas, not their sexual orientation. The value of a human being does not lie in their group affiliations, but in the content of their character and the quality of their mind. When we abandon this principle, we not only do a disservice to the marginalized, but to all of society. Only by respecting the autonomy and merit of the individual can we build a world where achievement is determined by effort and ability, rather than the arbitrary traits of birth. This is the path to true equality and progress, where every person can rise to the heights of their potential, unencumbered by the shackles of identity politics. Part 3. Conflict of group interests. Identity politics promotes a view of society as a zero-sum game, where one group's gain is another's loss. This idea fuels resentment and animosity, pitting individuals against one another based on their demographic characteristics, rather than the content of their ideas or their character. In a truly rational, merit-based society, people would cooperate towards shared goals and values, recognizing the mutual benefits of trade and collaboration. But identity politics seeks to tear down this unity, replacing it with a tribal mentality that emphasizes division and conflict. By focusing on group identity, we lose sight of our common humanity and the principles that bind us together. This can lead to a breakdown in civil discourse as discussions devolve into emotional appeals to group loyalty rather than logical arguments based on facts and reason. Furthermore, the notion of group rights is a dangerous one, as it inevitably leads to the infringement of individual rights. When the state intervenes to favor one group over another, it undermines the very foundation of a free and just society, the principle of equal treatment under the law. Ultimately, the promotion of group identity over individual identity is not only misguided, but harmful to the progress of humanity. It is only by embracing our shared rationality and rejecting the fallacy of collectivism that we can hope to build a better world for all. Identity politics often relies on the idea that certain groups are inherently disadvantaged or oppressed, and that the success of some comes at the expense of others. This fosters a sense of unearned guilt among those deemed privileged and a culture of entitlement among those deemed victims. But the reality is far more nuanced. While it is true that individuals may face challenges due to circumstances beyond their control, it is not productive to view entire groups as eternally downtrodden or eternally guilty. Doing so strips people of their agency and their responsibility to shape their own lives. Observe that each person is an end in themselves, with the capacity to overcome obstacles through reason, hard work, and integrity. This is not to deny that some individuals may face more difficulties than others, but rather to emphasize that success and failure are ultimately determined by one's own choices and actions. When we embrace the victimhood narrative, we perpetuate a cycle of dependence and resentment that harms both the supposed victims and the supposed oppressors. It is crucial to reject this simplistic view and instead focus on empowering individuals to take control of their own destinies. This does not mean ignoring real injustices or turning a blind eye to discrimination. Rather, it means addressing these issues at their root causes and promoting a society where merit, not identity, is the primary determinant of success. Only then can we hope to create a truly equal and just world. Part 5. The solution. A truly just society recognizes and protects the rights of each individual, regardless of their group affiliations. It is a society where people are free to think, speak, and act according to their own judgment, and where they are held accountable for the consequences of their choices. In such a society, success is determined by merit, the quality of one's ideas, the effort one puts into their work, and the value they create for others. This is in stark contrast to the collectivist vision, where resources are redistributed based on group membership rather than personal achievement. Achieving this ideal requires a renewed commitment to reason, objectivity, and the principles of the Enlightenment. We must reject the irrational premises of identity politics, and instead embrace a worldview that values the individual, their autonomy, and their potential to contribute to the betterment of humanity. This means fostering a culture of personal responsibility, where people are encouraged to develop their abilities and pursue their values without seeking unearned benefits from others. It also requires a legal system that protects individual rights and punishes those who violate them, without favor or prejudice. By championing these ideals, we can hope to create a world where people are judged not by the color of their skin, their gender, or their beliefs, but by the content of their character and the quality of their work. This is the only path to genuine equality, prosperity, and human flourishing. Part 6. Conclusion. As we bring this discussion to a close, it is my fervent hope that the insights provided here serve as a beacon of clarity in the fog of identity politics. Remember, the future of humanity rests on the primacy of reason, individual autonomy, and the unyielding defense of our shared human values. In a world increasingly fractured by tribalism and resentment, we must stand as champions of a society where the merit of one's ideas and character determines their worth, not the arbitrary traits of birth. We owe it to ourselves and to future generations to reject the pernicious allure of collectivism and to forge a new path forward, one illuminated by the guiding light of individualism. Only then can we create a truly just and prosperous world, where each person is free to rise to the heights of their own potential. It is time to cast aside the chains of identity politics and embrace our common humanity. Together we can build a future where reason and merit are once again the foundations of civilization, and the individual is celebrated for their unique contributions to the betterment of all. Thank you.